Listen, I've been asked to talk to you about a rather nasty little corporation that has its eyes on all of us. Serco. Some of you have probably heard about Serco, some of you haven't. One of the things that the Occupy movement has done is it's shone the light on the collusion between politicians and corporations. And as most of you will know, here in Western Australia, that is a particularly significant relationship, particularly not just since the Barnett government came to power, but particularly since they came to power. Serco is a UK multinational corporation, a global corporation. Essentially what it does is it runs public services and public assets that governments privatise. So here in Western Australia, they've just won a contract to run Fiona Stanley Hospital, the largest contract ever let by government in this state. They run Acacia Prison. If you go down to the train station, you will find Serco running parts of the train system. They, as of November 1, they will be running WA's first juvenile prison, privatised prison. They run all the immigration detention centres for the federal government. So they're a very large corporation here in Western Australia and globally. In Australia they have about 8,000 employees and they make huge profits out of running public services. One of the things, and I know all of you here are big fans of our esteemed Treasurer, Troy Buswell. Yes, I can see you're all fans. Buswell is a very good friend of Serco, and surprise, surprise, Serco win a lot of contracts with the Barnett government. On the first day that the Barnett government was elected, Troy Buswell, as Treasurer of Western Australia, met with Serco and Serco lobbyists. And you see, Serco, the reason they win a lot of contracts is because they're very well connected politically. So if, for example, 95% of Serco's income comes from running government services, that's services that you and I use, previously provided by government, now provided by Serco for profit. And Serco employ a lobbyist, or lobbyists here in Western Australia, who the director of that lobbyist firm is a former director of the WA Liberal Party. So he gives very good access to ministers. So on the first day that Buswell was Treasurer, he met with Serco to discuss opportunities for Serco to win contracts here in Western Australia. He's continued to be a very good supporter of Serco. He meets regularly with Serco. When he was a backbencher, you may recall, he was removed for a number of transgressions. When he was a backbencher, he went to the UK, where he visited a lot of Serco facilities, and he came back in Parliament and spoke very positively about Serco. So Serco is very well connected politically. They win contracts here in Western Australia, and they run services that you and I use. There are a couple of reasons why we should be very concerned about Serco. One is that they are taking over more and more public services for profit. So Fiona Stanley Hospital, WA's largest hospital, to be run by Serco on a contract for profit. Another reason we should be particularly concerned about Serco is they run a lot of services that give them a lot of coercive authority over people. Prisons, immigration detention centres, juvenile facilities. And a lot of people in those facilities die. and a lot of people are seriously harmed in those facilities. So in the UK, where Serco run juvenile facilities, the youngest death in custody was a 14-year-old boy who died in Serco's facilities. In 2 weeks' time, Serco will be running Western Australia's first juvenile prison. The Barnett government has given them a contract to run the prison. So we wonder how many young people are going to be at risk in that facility. Serco, as many of you will know, also run immigration detention facilities where we have constant harm and constant deaths. Serco Watch, which is a network of people here in WA, started out really as just a few people concerned about Serco. It's now essentially a sort of global online network. We try to share information with people in New Zealand, where Serco has a big presence, with people in the UK, where Serco has a big presence, and we try to expose and oppose this corporation. And we try to educate and inform people about this particularly pernicious corporation. So please support that work. The Forest Alliance said one thing you can do is talk to your local member and say to them, please ask some questions in Parliament about this corporation. They operate in the shadows and we need to get more information about them on the public record. So anything you can do or anything local politicians can do to get information about them, we'd ask you to do that. If you're interested, Serco Watch, you can simply access it through Facebook. It simply promotes and disseminates information about Serco. We organise and try to support events that are run by people trying to expose and oppose Serco. So an important part of Occupy is to expose these corporations that are exploiting public profit. Serco epitomises that. Thanks, guys. Thanks, and thanks for all. Great to see you all out here, and good luck. Let's keep these bastards honest.